Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining Dorsey Ross on this episode of The Dorsey Ross Show. In this episode, Dorsey interviews another special guest that will give you hope and inspire you.
Hey guys, I just wanted to put an ad in this episode. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. One, it's free. There's a creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And I've tried it, and it's really easy to do. It's not as complicated or as difficult as you would think it would be. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Download the free Anchor app or go to your anchor.fm to get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining me in another episode of the Dorsey Ross podcast. Today we have a special guest with us. He is a good friend of mine. He has the same disability that I do, and I want to introduce to you, he is from Plymouth, England. He and I met several years ago on Facebook, and I would like to introduce to you today Tom Gardner.
Hello, Dorsey. Thank you for having me and for inviting me on your podcast. I'm very pleased to be talking with you today.
Well, thank you, Tom, for joining me. I appreciate it. I want to ask you a few questions today, Tom. Tell me a little bit about your disability and about what you have faced in your life and what you have had to overcome.
Okay, well, for everyone who's listening, I, like Dorsey, was born with Apert Syndrome. I was born on the 29th of December 1990, and since then, I've had a number of operations, 22 major ones and 120 minor ones. Throughout my life, I would say the main sort of not struggle, or the main things I've had to try and overcome is to try and adapt in doing things differently. For example, when I was a baby, my hands were fused. I've been in and out of surgery whilst trying to do my school, studying and so forth. I've always had people stare at me, mainly kids, many people probably unaware or see something differently might make them curious. And but yeah, throughout my life, I've just had to try and get on with it the best I can. Luckily, I've had supportive parents who've helped me along the way. And yeah, and the main thing I've kind of had to try and overcome was with my disability, or with Apert anyway, was to try and seek employment. But I have had some jobs which have been successful, and I've now a self-employed gardener. So I've had to carry out different licenses and qualifications for this. For example, chainsawing, and which I had to sort of adapt my own way, but luckily that's all worked out well.
Yeah, that sounds good, Tom. Now, you said you had 25 major operations, and what were the minor ones? How many did you have of the minor ones?
I had 22 major operations and I think 114, if I remember correctly, minor ones. So that's just little tweaks here and there.
So you have almost over or close to 130 operations then, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yes, I have, Dorsey, yep. Throughout 0 to 29, which is the age I am now.
What were all those operations for, Tom?
And the first one actually was to try and break or drill my skull, because like with most other babies, their skulls are fused. And for like us who have Apert, our skulls fused, which means that there's not enough room for your brain to grow. So they had to do numerous head operations, where at the time I've also had numerous bone and skin grafts with my fingers. My hands were webbed when I was born, and my eyes were being protruded. I still have webbed feet, but I'm fine with that. So I love swimming. When I was 10, I had my main mid-face surgery done, which was done to bring my mid-face forward. And I've also had numerous afflictions in my face, for example, like a nose job to try and make it my nose so I can breathe better, and I had to breathe through my nose as opposed to just my mouth. And I've also had some bone and dual surgery as well. And that is it to date. I am coming up to my last operation. It was supposed to be this year, but for obvious reasons that have been now postponed to next year. But it could be to have the dual bone and gum implants in preparation for dental implants.
I can relate to what you're saying with some of your operations, especially with the skull and the facial operations. And I thought I had a lot, 68 operations, and you're talking, 100 or more operations that you had. Man, that's a lot of, operations and a lot of hospitalizations that you had to face in your life. Was there times in your life when going through these operations that you said, I don't want to do this anymore, that you just wanted to, give up as far as having no more operations? Or did the doctor say, well, you have to have these operations to survive?
Right. Okay. Well, I from birth really up until about 10 years old. These were operations I had to have done and were advised to my mum and dad. And so at the time, from what I remember anyway, it was things that had to be done in order to try and improve my quality of life. For example, like I said, to hopefully make my breathing a bit better, and to also make my speech a bit better, which to me as an individual is really I seems important. And but throughout the ones from really 11 years old up until now 29, these are ones I haven't had to have done, but I kind of wanted to have done. To try and improve my appearance as best I can be. I'm not going to be 100%, but still. And these ones I've just been trying to do, so then I can try and enjoy my life a bit more. But for me, my speak is my main thing that I try to be confident with. So these operations have all been mainly on my jaw or on my teeth, just to try and improve this. But I just want to state though that these operations I've chose to have done. I chose just purely for myself, not to try and what's the word? Yeah, not to try and make other people or make society happier, or not, because I'm doing it for myself, and I'm not doing it to try and what's the word? Yeah, to not. I'm not doing it for other people. Basically, just doing it purely for myself because we all have the right to do things. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, you just wanted to look better, Tom. You just wanted to look better for that woman that you want to marry at some point.
You know me well, Dorsey. No, but yeah. I mean, I'm aware that I'm not going to be obviously like a glamour model or Channing Tatum, but hey, I guess we can. Yeah, and I just want to just be confident in myself, which is why. I mean, I'm confident anyway in general as a personality, but I just want to like you said, look good. Well, look how best I can be anyway. No, yeah, I'm not going to be,
right.
Perfect. And
Have you felt when you wanted to talk to someone of the opposite sex, have you felt like you were being rejected at times? And why did you feel that you were being rejected? Was it because of your disability, or was it just because they weren't interested?
Well, I think it's a bit 50-50, really. Now, when I was in school, I guess people, young and some girls can be immature. So, yeah, so in school, or throughout my teenage life, really, it was quite tough. I mean, I did have tried to ask, not many, but try and ask a few girls on a date. And I got rejected for like several reasons. A, they either just weren't interested, or obviously had a boyfriend which I didn't know about, which was awkward. Um, yeah, tell me about it. And yeah, but I think the worst one I ever had, or the worst sort of kind of date I think I had. I thought it was going out well, but it turned out that this girl was doing it for a bet for friends. This was actually in high school or secondary school, it's called over here. But yeah, but going over or during the past few years, I have been friends with some girls. It's not that I don't feel comfortable speaking to them, so I do, but I don't know. I just take it by ear, and hopefully the right women will come along one day. But yeah, at the minute I'm just been focusing on running my business, and hopefully to eventually move to America, which is when I hope to try and meet somebody. Hopefully.
And where would you like to move to America?
Well, I would love to move to Wilmington in North Carolina, because back in 2012, I did a 3-month internship with an environmental organization called Cape Fear Riverwatch. Now, that was a fantastic opportunity for me, and while staying in the city, I just fell in love with the place. I fell in love with the scenery, and the people were great and so welcoming, a lot more welcoming than some places over here. And also, I mean, I'd love to try and perhaps work for them in the future, which would be my dream job and place to live.
That'd be awesome, and then we could hang out together more often, hopefully.
Yeah, sure. We'll have to get like a bachelor pad, and that's cool. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd be good. And it'd be brilliant to hang out with you a bit more, because obviously I'm obviously in the UK. So yeah, that'd be great. And well on the future.
I know you and I have talked about the Rocky movies, and talked about that one powerful moment in that Rocky movie where Stallone Rocky is talking to his son, and he gives him that personal, inspirational message. What is that message, and why do you live by that statement?
Well, the message, if I'm right in saying, I mean, there might be some Rocky fans listening, so I hope I get this right. There's a quote in there, and the one that you speak of was, and I quote, "Life's not about how hard you hit; it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done." Now, I like to try and live by that quote, because, like I'm sure many of us, we all have ups and downs, and it's sometimes that we can try and learn from, try and improve, and keep going forward as a positive person. And I've had quite a bit of a roller coaster time in my life, but hadn't we all? And so yeah, I think if in order to, well, for me personally, anyway, in order to gain what my goals, then I have to keep on forward and make an action plan, and yeah, just keep on keep on being positive and trying to inspire others, which I try to do on Facebook, as you know. And yeah, to eventually eventually to live my dream life in America. That is my ultimate goal,
Right.
As well as having a wife and kids.
If you were to give someone that's listening a word of encouragement and inspiration, what would that be?
To any of you listeners who may be listening, if I was to have one word of encouragement, it would be belief, because I feel it's really important for everyone to believe in themselves, no matter how hard or how great the times or what you're going through. And I also believe that any dreams you have, should be made into a reality. And also, I feel that, believing in yourself and believing in the path you want to take is really important. And if you have any friends or family, maybe, who gives you support, that will help too. And I also believe that, dreams are what goals or paths that hasn't come true yet, which will come true in your life if you want them enough. And I believe that nobody or nothing should ever stop you from achieving your dreams.
Tom. Now, I'm sure, like myself and like hundreds and thousands of people out there, we have all been bullied and teased and made fun of at some point in our lives. What is one of the examples that you can give of the stories where you have been bullied, and how did you overcome people bullying you, and what would you tell others of how to overcome bullying that they are dealing with?
At the time where I was was mainly when I was bullied was when I was in college doing my foundation degree. And during that time, I really used to struggle with exams. And I used to, I was actually at the time, quite a few years ago now, I was kind of like bottom of the group. So people used to just make fun of me. Not so much because of my appearance, but just because, because I was told, that I would never make it, or by my fellow students, that I would never be able to make it in life. I'd never be able to try and graduate. And I used to get told daily by my course manager that, I'm sorry, but you're bottom of the group, we really need to step it up. Otherwise, you'll have to end the course. And it's from that time, that entire time, really, I thought, right, you know what? I'm going to prove you guys wrong. I will graduate. I will get my exam and pass my exams. And yeah, so I decided, I've always tried to work hard in education, everyone, but I just struggled through exams. So it's then on in that literally I worked and I worked. And eventually, my results came through the post, and I successfully graduated with a degree in environmental science. And so to come back to your question, for anyone who may be listening, if you do get bullied for that reason, or for any reason, or for any reason in general, really, just know that at the end of the day, you are the better person, and they're the coward, if you like, because they just for some reason like to pick on weak people. So if you are, or hopefully nobody is bullied listening, but if you have had experiences of being bullied, then it's important to also know that you can just ignore it, you can rise above it. And also, it's always important just to tell somebody, whether that be your teacher, your parents, friends, family member, whoever. And then just by telling people, especially with experiences I've had, it really does help to let it out. If you bottle it up, that's the worst thing to do. So I'm sure everyone has lots of friends and family members who are willing to support and also be there for you. So yeah, you're not
Yeah,
alone.
thanks, Tom. I know that there's the old saying, hurt people, meaning that, the reason people, bully other people or hurt other people because they themselves have been hurt. I think that's one of the reasons why we have so much bullying and we have so much hurt in the world is because, we ourselves and other people have been hurt as well.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with your point that with the words that Dorsey, that is definitely true. I mean, yeah, I couldn't have put it better myself.
Tom, as we get ready to end today, if there was one other statement or one other quote that you would want to say to the listeners, what would that be?
Now, if I was to have one other statement, it was if I was to have one statement to say to your listeners before we end this, I believe, or I go by a saying actually, which I saw once, and I thought, yes, it's fantastic, and that is, wish it, dream it, do it, and because there's no substitute for hard work. Now, what I mean by wish it, dream it, do it is that, if you wish for something and you dream about it all the time, then you can get out there and you can show the world what you're made of, whether you have a disability or not. Yeah, if you can't do what you want, then hopefully you might be able to even inspire others. For me personally, being born of Apert, I do try to give some inspiration, with certainly with my job, for other people with Apert. For example, you can do things just as good as anybody else, maybe a bit differently. But yeah, for example, we can use chainsaws and stuff like that. And yeah, I certainly try to do this on Facebook. Anyway, I try to give some inspiration and hope to families or with kids or parents who have kids with Aperts, a chance to show that they can do whatever they want to do.
Definitely. Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining me on this show today. I appreciate you coming on. We'll have to have you back again, and we'll inspire and we'll encourage others, on the next episode as well. And for everyone that's listening, I thank you again for listening. I would love for you guys to take a look at my website at www.dorseyross.com. Would love for you to let others know about this podcast and about this ministry. And if you feel led, please, donate to this podcast. And I'm also looking to have speaking engagements, whether it be through Zoom or YouTube or Facebook, especially in today's day and age with the pandemic on. I hope you guys have a great day and a great rest of your week.
Thank you again for joining Dorsey Ross on this episode of The Dorsey Ross Show. Please like, share, and tell others about the show. Also, please check out the other podcast episodes. And if you would like, donate to this podcast and buy Dorsey a coffee. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.